I was watching it and the players at the same time. But I watched the Suns because I figured Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal would go big three on Dame without Giannis. And the Suns gave up 140 points and lost by 11 as KD scored only 10 in 41 minutes, including 0 in the fourth quarter on only 1 missed shot. Paul Pierce is back with us. Paul, what was your biggest takeaway from this game?
I think my biggest takeaway was, if the Bucks get healthy, I thought there was a huge gap between Milwaukee and the Boston Celtics. But when I saw Middleton, he put up a decent game.
He did.
You got their bench is pretty good in Milwaukee, obviously with Porter and Dame. I was like, okay, they're probably the only team that can push the Celtics. I had them winning in 5, but now maybe 6 if you got a healthy Middleton.
All right.
But the biggest, let me tell you something, Skip. Do we not hold KD at the same standard as LeBron?
Yeah.
Steph? Do we not? Is he a generational player? Could he be
Absolutely.
a top 10, 15 player?
Yes.
And so I've been kind of disappointed in KD's team success. I mean, he's on a team that you could probably consider a super team, right? To me, Booker's probably the best two-guard in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, who has a better third option than Bradley Beal in the NBA? Maybe Harden on the Clippers. Outside of that, this is Durant's third super team. And they haven't won since he left Golden State. So I hold Durant at a high standard. And this is what I go back to. He says, why isn't he mentioned in the GOAT conversation? He just said this a month and a half ago. Why shouldn't he be? What hasn't he done? Well, I'll tell you what he hasn't done. In 2021, he lost in the second round to Milwaukee. In 2022, he lost in the first round to Boston. In 2023, he lost in the second round to Denver. Now, I want to put him up there, but I've been really disappointed. And not as an individual accomplishments, because what he's done is nothing short of spectacular, averaging 25 for 20-plus years or however many years he's been in the league. But as far as team success, if we put him at the same standard as we do Steph and LeBron, he just hasn't met those requirements. And that's a little disappointing to me, being that he's a generational player. So that's just a couple things that I took away from this and watching Durant, because I had to go a chance to watch him in Boston last week, and I've watched him this whole year.
Yep.
It just hasn't translated to the level of success team-wise that I think it should for a player of his caliber.
Well, early in OKC, obviously, they went to the finals and they lost. They was young, and he had, I guess you could call it a super team then. They was just a young super team. Obviously, he won in Golden State. Brooklyn situation,
yeah, I understand.
You can't even
Under
really.
the circumstances,
I mean, he had on a size 18 shoe instead of a 12. I mean, it was
right.
one of those deals in the Brooklyn situation. They just never materialized. What did they play, like 8 games, all 3 of them together?
Okay.
So James was hurt.
Yeah, it just wasn't
flying solo.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then he gets to Phoenix, and I'm not making excuses for him, but Paul, then he gets to Phoenix last year. He gets hurt immediately. It's like the first day he got hurt.
Right.
He gets hurt the first day, then whatever. They go to the playoffs. They get smacked. They get sent home. This year, they acquire Bradley Beal. How many games have all 3 of them actually been together this season? So,
but I'm saying, like, at the beginning of the year when you was like, oh, Bradley Beal is coming to Phoenix, what was your initial thought? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, it's going to be
Phoenix might be
I picked them.
favorite to win it.
Yeah, I picked them.
By the way, they played 27 games together, and they're 16 and 11 in those 27.
So I picked them to come out the West early. I was like, I think they're going to come out of the West. Now, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm not making excuses for him. It's true. When you look at it from beginning to end, he really hasn't had the success that you would project for a player of his caliber.
Except for those back-to-back years in Golden State when he took over the finals. I don't care what you say. He did.
Do I think it's, am I ready to just close the door on Phoenix? No.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. I'm not making excuses for Kevin, but I will say this. He is averaging 37.3 minutes a game. That's the most since he was 25 years old playing in Oklahoma City. And I don't know why he's playing so many minutes, but it's in part because the other two have occasionally been in and out of the lineup. But here's the problem. I believe they were better with Chris Paul last year because they don't have a showrunner out there. They don't have somebody who can get them into the right place at the right time. I know Book tries to run it, but he's the best two guard in basketball, and you can't expect him to wear two hats at once because it's an identity crisis. You don't know what you're doing, so they don't have anybody under stress, under fire, who can settle them in and settle them down. And when Chris, remember, once again, we talked about Chris in Houston, when he pulled his hamstring, as he often has, remember last year? They were up in the third quarter at Denver in that game. And once he pulled, that was it. And Kevin was pretty, by his standards, he was a disaster in games. It was 5 and 6 against Denver last year because they had him on the ropes, and all of a sudden, in those two games, he shot 18 for 43 from the floor. Didn't make a three-pointer in either game 5 or the closeout game 6. And I still haven't gotten out of my craw what your Celtics did to him with Ime and company when their baby Celtics. They went into Brooklyn and just got physical with him and just beat the hell out of him. They just said, "Hey,
see, but I think he was already checked out of Brooklyn by then, though."
Yeah, but hey,
just got
mentally.
There. You just got there.
he shot 39% from the floor. By his standards, it was horrible. He just couldn't make a shot again, and they got swept and blown right out of the playoffs by Boston. I think these playoffs are big for him because it's like, okay, show us something here at 35. What do you got left?
But their pace was slower, though, with Chris Paul.
Yeah. Okay,
year.
but I just thought I just liked it. I know, but it was working. They were good. And listen, when Chris Paul got dared last year, he made a bunch of big shots for him because they just say shoot.
He got to his spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
is this a super team or not?
Yeah.
Is Phoenix a super team or not?
Okay.
But what super teams other than Golden State have you seen take off? They usually don't take off. They usually take its time for everybody to kind of, I don't know, understand where they're supposed to be.
Off.
You did.
We took off.
Took off. That's true.
I don't remember.
EKG and Ray took off.
Yeah, but you had Rondo to kind of run the show.
Did y'all take off?
Yeah, we take off. Do your research.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to do my research. Because y'all beat us. Don't tell me that.
Well, what do you mean? Because they beat you. They did beat you.
We beat them too.
Okay, but they beat you.
We don't get hurt. We win a second one.
No, if we don't get hurt.
Three-peat.
Man, stop, man.
We might three-peat.
No, stop.
Wait, we're not talking about the week.
We can always say. We can always say.
Second year.
We can always say if.
KG got hurt the second year. We was 28-2.
It's like us saying if Karl Malone doesn't get hurt.
When did Karl Malone get hurt?
What I'm saying, when he was with the Lakers and we lost to Detroit. If this doesn't happen, we gonna beat up on Detroit. Stop, man.
You earlier was talking about if Chris Paul don't pull his hamstring, if birds had radios, there'd be music in the sky. Like, I mean, come on. Come on.
We go win 3. But okay, so outside of y'all took off, but outside of y'all, I mean, even when you look at LeBron in Miami, they got there, but it was just,
Okay, but how much
but Golden State was already rolling.
Miami took off.
Miami took off. How much did how much did Rondo have to do with you three? You need somebody to kind of set it up and run it.
I don't think so, Skip. You got 3 great players. I mean, what